So there's been a few cases where I've looked at some listings and some people have mentioned to me, Sam, my product isn't selling. So what I've done is I've actually gone and analyzed and had a look at the actual product and what they're selling. And I noticed that, yes, they are on page one. Yes, they are in the top 3 of the search results, but they're not selling because there's hardly any demand for that particular product, right? So some misconception or some mistakes that can happen when you're searching for a product is you're so focused on this limited competition that you're actually also limiting the amount of sales that you can make, right? So if you find a product usually that has hardly any competition, you have to really ask yourself, why is that? Why doesn't it have any competition? Am I really good at picking a product that's very early on into the market? Or is it because there is actually no demand for this particular product? And is there ever going to be a time where there is demand for the product? Because sometimes there is, you just got to basically wait for it and kind of write it out. And sometimes there just really isn't, right? So that's another thing also with your particular product. If you're finding that you're on page one on Amazon and you're not making the sales that you thought you'd make, then have a look at the actual demand for that particular product. And this is kind of another, I guess, mistake that people do. And we're talking, I guess, about things that I hope that all of you guys are going to avoid. But and essentially is another thing is when you're doing your product research, what people tend to rely on is one main keyword for that product, right? So each product usually has 40 or 50 different keywords, and people will look at that one main keyword, which is kind of the main keyword of that product, and they'll base their decision, whether it's good or bad, on that particular keyword. But what tends to happen is you might discount that product and think, no, it's too competitive, but you haven't looked at all the other keywords, right? Or you might look at it and think, okay, well, I can get into this space, but I'm going to need to order, if the top sellers are doing 2,000 sales a month, then you need to think, is that within your actual budget itself to be able to get to that stage of ordering 2,000 units a month just to actually be able to get there? If you're looking at a product and you're in a niche that is very, very high in demand and you realize that your budget just isn't going to fit, don't target the main keyword, right? Don't do that, because what will end up happening is you probably do certain things just to try to compete, but you probably won't get there initially. Target the low tail keywords or long tail keywords also. Go back to the keywords that are maybe only getting a less search volume, a little bit less demand, start ranking for them, and then you'll find yourself starting to work the way up. So that's a good way to do it. I think a lot of people just go for the kill straight away for that main keyword, and they feel a little bit disheartened. I did have someone contact me, and they said that they gave away 300 units in their launch, and they realized they still weren't on page one. And then I had a look at it, and I said, well, the reason why you went on page one is because you actually needed to do about 1,000 sales within that period of time, which was about a week, just to be on page one. So, and then he realized that, oh crap, right? He realized he just gave away all this inventory and he didn't have the budget to actually be able to get more inventory. So it's something that you should be able to avoid. It's also important to know, knowing your keywords is extremely important, but also knowing how many sales you need to make per keyword to get ranked is important, right? Because you want to be targeting the right ones. You don't want to be running out of stock too quickly. That's not a bad thing, but you have to make sure you do have enough funds to be able to commit to new ordering or new funding your inventory, I should say. Okay, another thing, which is a little bit of a misconception, I think, and something that I don't particularly use unless it's kind of like Google or something like that, but keyword volume, right? So this is probably going to be an interesting one, but a lot of the things when the keyword volume is people rely on the search volume for a specific keyword to make a decision whether or not that's a good product, right? So what I usually tend to do is this: instead of looking at how much people are actually searching for that product, I would prefer to see how many people are actually buying that particular product, right? So on Amazon, there are a lot of tools where you can see search volume. I don't really look at them, to be honest. I never have. I did initially, and then I realized that it was always pointing me in the wrong direction. What I look at, my favorite basically statistic is going to be the bestsellers rank, the BSR. I would go to a category and have a look at the actual BSR. The BSR is what's going to tell you whether or not a product is selling, not the search volume. And the reason why I mention this is because, again, I've had a lot of people contacted me in the past where they'll say to me, Sam, this product has a search volume of 1 million a month, but I can't sell any. And they've done a really good job for their listing, but it's like, yeah, but there was no one really buying this particular product, right? So maybe there's an opportunity there for sure. But in terms of what we're actually trying to do, there wasn't an opportunity there, right, in terms of that particular product. So for me, the BSR sales volume beats keyword volume any day.
That was a video from my regular Monday night Q&A session with the members of the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. We are a community of 2,500 members and growing. We're the fastest growing community of professional e-commerce sellers right here in Australia. With sales, by the way, of over $50 million. $50 million, holy crap. If you'd like to find out more about what we do and how we can help you build your own e-commerce business too, get off to www.aussieonlineentrepreneurs.com.au. The link for that is in the description. And thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.